much, Crispin.
It's a lovely Saturday and we are back here on your TV sets just to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports highlights. When it comes to sports highlights, I mean off the pitch. And it's a lovely Saturday for me because the Zambian Super League is back. It started yesterday and we are looking forward to other bigger games that are there today. By the way, for those who are just tuning in, you can also watch us live. That's on Facebook. You can just follow our Facebook page, which is Camnet, like it, and you'll be able to watch us live from there. And I'm your host, Amos, aka Amore, and I'm not alone on set. I'm with Uncle Rapson, who is blending in his Nkana replica. Uncle Rapson, welcome to the show.
Good to see you, Amos. It's always nice to be here, and it's been a bad week for me and Nkana Football Club, and I think the passing on of one Crispin Mlenga has been very, very devastating to the team. He was very, very instrumental in the winning of the league last season, and he was part of the team that beat Indeni on Saturday, and he went on to be with the Lord on Monday morning, in the early hours of Monday morning, through that accident, and it's very, very devastating to the football fraternity. He's not young. I wouldn't say we've lost an enterprising young midfielder. He was pretty odd, fair enough, but I think he contributed a lot to football development in Zambia, and I'm glad that as a team we have something to play for this season, to give a reward or a token of appreciation to the family in terms of the league, and I can only wish Nkana all the best in this season, and probably our target is to win the league again back to back, just to appreciate the efforts that Crispin made to the team, and it's very, very, very sad actually. We started the week on a very, very bad note, and so sad, very, very sad for the team.
Anyway, not forgetting the ever blending Augustine. He's also dawning in the our airmen.
The airmen. Red hot Red Arrows Football Club. It's pretty exciting to be back. Thanks to the viewers for tuning in. We look forward for this season that started yesterday. It's promising to be very exciting, and would like to pass my condolences to the Mlenga family. I think the passing on of Crispin is very unfortunate. He had started to settle in at Ghana. You saw his move from Manas. Yeah, I think it was a time when he was at Power Dynamos. It was very promising. Then his career started going down. He made the move to Forest Rangers, Lumwana, and when he went to Ghana, you could see Manfred Chawinga found a position for him just behind the striker. And if you saw the games he has played for Ghana since moving his debut against Sensation Zanako, and he managed to find
Beautiful
the back
goal.
of the net. Yeah, he was someone who I thought would have fitted well in Ghana Football Club's structure and the way Manfred Chawinga wants to play football. I think it's a very great loss to not just Ghana but the football family at large. And I think condolences to the family, and may he rest in peace.
Anyway, that's we've started on a very low mood. It's for me personally, I would also love to wish my condolences to the Mlenga family and to my colleague here, Uncle Rapson, who is a Ghana supporter. Hopefully you deliver what you've said. Like, the best you can offer is just to win the league back. And we've got a lot aligned for you, our viewers, and our question for today for you guys who are watching us from home is, which team do you think will carry the league this year? When I say the league, I mean the Zambian Super League. Which team do you feel like will carry the day? We'll hear the views from both my colleagues here, but before we get into more details on that, let's just take a very short break and we'll be right back.
Camnet TV invites all registered castor seed farmers for a 3-day training session. On Monday, 2nd November from 0830 hours, training for trainers cost 1,020 kwacha per participant. On Tuesday, 3rd November and Wednesday, 4th November, training for all castor growers, 620 kwacha per participant, lunch inclusive. Choose one day only.
Speakers will be Pastor Moses Chiluba, Israel Kimbo from Zimbabwe, Professor Rida from Egypt.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. For more information, registration and payments, use the following numbers: 0979 753010, 0962 382535, 0962 965883. Cost for castor seed and fertilizer is $805 or kwacha equivalent. Deposit in Zanaco account number 5764283500-191 Lewanika Mill branch. Let's make Zambia an economical powerhouse for Africa.
This is Camnet TV World News. For a prompt response, call +2609 53 995 099 or +2609 62 444 726 or +2609 711 77467. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We were just debating behind the cameras here with my colleagues because we are very, very extra excited looking at the guys or the gents who are sitting here. There's one for the Zambia Airmen and one for Karamba Red. But I would start with you, Angorapson. How do you feel knowing that the league is back?
It's very, very exciting, extremely exciting, and it was glad to hear the news when the Minister of Sports clearly stated that he's doing everything possible to have fans back in the stadium within 12 days. And probably, I think what I'm seeing is the target is the Botswana game. We are not likely to see fans this most likely before the game comes up, because I think it will be like a testimonial match. Because Heroes Stadium, probably if we are going to host them at Heroes, if the game will be hosted at Heroes, it's a situation where we have to assess, because clearly I don't want to get into these political statements of saying fans need to be allowed, because there are so many other activities that actually happen to show that the crowds are still being allowed to be brought together in instances where football is not involved. Last night we also saw what happened at Woodland Stadium.
Yeah, it was packed.
It was heavily packed, probably more than what the football match can actually accommodate. But there we were, clearly we could see people happy in their own ways, and I think fans should just quickly finish the process with Minister of Health and probably the Minister of Sports, so that the fans can quickly go back to the stadium. It's very, very exciting to see the league back, and as we speak, Woodcon is playing the second match of the league. Yesterday we saw Prison Leopards, the Prisoners beating the Chingarika boys by 3-0. It was like an Eden fixture elevated into the Premier League. And the last game they played in the Eden League, it was 1-0, and for them to come back and play this particular match at a very, very high stage, at a very high level of Zambian football, it was quite exciting. And I was very disappointed for Quito United. I didn't expect that result, to be honest. It ended in a 3-0 bashing, and Prison Leopards, probably they're just telling us that they're here to stay in the Premier League.
Augustine,
I think
we know Red Arrows is playing.
Yeah,
at 15.
Airmen. One of the biggest clubs in.
And one of the army derbies for me, I would call it.
Yeah,
the boring derby.
I think it has always been perceived that as the boring derby, because mostly it's goalless, and not when it's played at Ngoloma Stadium. When it's played at Ngoloma Stadium, usually Red Arrows are the winners. But whenever it's played at Edwin Imboela, Levi Mwanawasa, whenever Arrows travels to face GBFC, it's always a stalemate. It's more of a game of chess that's how the game is played. It's too tactical whenever the two military sides come face to face. But last season we saw Red Arrows beat GPFC both home and away. With James Chamanga scoring 3 goals in the process. I think it was very, very interesting. There was a time when Red Arrows played GBFC from 2004. I think GBFC had gone 14 years without winning at Goroma Stadium. So you see who are the favorites going into this match. It's obviously the red half of Lusaka. I think at the end of the day, I just hope the airmen will color the town red against GBFC.
Well, focusing on that match, it will be very, very pretty interesting. We saw what has been happening in the off season. GBFC had made some changes on their technical bench and
even appoint new captain. Even GBFC have appointed
they've appointed another.
There was a handover ceremony during the course of the week where the new captain was being given an armband and.
Yes.
The technical bench also had, we have seen that Chris Katongo is no longer part of the technical bench. They've fused in other people to do the job. But clearly, this fixture is going to be very, 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 very tightly contested because it's not easy. It's the two defense forces playing against each other. And for me, it will be very, very interesting to see how Red Arrows fares in this match after clearing off 12 veterans. Making also changes to the team and bringing in young blood and the selling of Bruce, and I would like to see how they are performing, and probably I can confirm that immediately after this match me and Augustine will head to Hero Stadium to go and cover that match live. We need to cover it and see. I will not say much because it's a game of 90 minutes and probably at the end of the day one of us will end up laughing the loudest. And when you look at the first game, the early kickoff. I think let's begin by discussing the early kickoff.
Game.
The early kickoff today sees Buildcom. I think it's even kicked off now.
It was dubbed as the money game between Buildcom and
Lusaka Dynamos. Yeah, it is a money game because you see, Lusaka Dynamos actually have gone a step further to beef up their squad. They've gotten one enterprising Emmanuel Chawula, who has moved from
on a shocking move.
Very, very shocking move. They left it very, very late. They left it extremely late to confirm that transfer, and he's in the starting 11, so I hear, and we should be able to see a very, very, very exciting match in Dola this afternoon. Except that would be a curtain raiser to the real match, which is going to be played at 15 hours. You know what I mean when I say
that. It's a matter of first playing second at Levin Manasa Stadium. That's what Uncle Rapson
I know.
But coming to this game is it's going to be pretty interesting because if you look at both sides, Buildcom and Lusaka Dynamos, you always wonder what are they really trying to do with their clubs. I think their project, their roadmap, it's not really clear. We were talking with Uncle Rapson the other week. They had Buildcom in, is it 3-4 seasons? They have had 97 different faces in the
squad. Yeah.
So if you're a coach, how do you transform a squad which has had 97 players within just a short space of 4 years? Not even in Ghana, the big might in Ghana, they cannot have so much players in a short space. 4 years 97. That's a joke. It's more like every season 30 new players. The next season another 30.
It points to that.
Yeah. So you tend to wonder what are they trying to achieve as Buildcom Football Club? What are they trying to achieve as Lusaka Dynamos? I think when the money came in at Lusaka Dynamos, they were struggling. Remember when Perim Chapa brought them down? Because I was part of the setup of the youth setup. I was at Young Lusaka Dynamos. Then the team went down to Division 1. Then we were relegated to Division 2. We saw Lusaka Dynamos starting from scratch in Division 2, where the likes of Emmanuel Hawasimbi was part of that team which brought Lusaka Dynamos to Division 1. Then it was called Division 1. Then the Super League. Perim Chapa did a fantastic job. You can see even Emmanuel Hawasimbi is still part of that setup. Marvin Jerry, the players who brought that team back up. He started with a very, very good group of players. And Corruption would agree, the likes of one of his favorite left backs, Luka Chamanga, Conrad Luchanga, Collins Sikombe. It was a very good side. Marvin Jerry, Emmanuel Hawasimbi. They were playing very good football, but when the money came in, they decided to do away with these young players. Then they went for big names. The Leah D of Ghana, because they had played the World Cup, they went for big names, but it hasn't brought them any success. So you start wondering which direction as they want trying to take as Lusaka Dynamos. Now we've seen they've taken steps to try and bring some local players like Emmanuel Chabula. Maybe they will try and drive the team in a different direction. They appointed Wadawada towards the end of the season, very controversial, because at the time when they appointed Wadawada, Lusaka Dynamos had gone 10 games without unbeaten. Yeah. Ian Bagala was doing very, very well. Wadawada came in and they never won any match. The first game they lost, and then they drew I think they lost the second game as well. Then now Wadawada started pre-season with Lusaka Dynamos. He went with them to Copper Belt. Then his contract came to an end in mid-October. Then there was no renewing of contract. Now Ian Bakala comes in. I think to me that's just
mismanagement.
Yeah. So one guy comes with his philosophy. Now Ian Bakala comes in. There were certain players that were on trials at Lusaka Dynamos who Wadawada had identified. And then when Bakala took over again, there were stories that those players were being pushed aside, he felt that those were not his selections. He now wanted to do his own selection. I think to me, they just need to put their house in order. Because the Super League, for you to win the Super League, you need to be organized. They should ask Nkana. You need to be organized for it.
You've got to be very, very organized, really, because when you see how Lusaka Dynamos has been transforming, I don't know where their ambitions are, and clearly when you look at the type of ambition they have, it's something that you can't see at the end of it. Like we always say, I can see light at the end of the tunnel. For Lusaka Dynamos, I think they've been quite very, very haphazard, very, very inconsistent in the decisions they make. I'm only hoping that these inconsistencies do not shift to NAPSA Stars Football Club, where we have one technical director and one one technical director and one coach having the same interest in the team but having different roles. That's exactly what happened at Lusaka Dynamos, and I can only hope and wish that NAPSA Stars should not go through that process. Because when you look at Lusaka Dynamos and Vidcon, they are all money spinners. And this fixture is probably going to be very, very, very tightly contested. And for me, I think the ones who have an upper hand in this game is Lusaka Dynamos in this particular match. But when we shift again, one of the mouth-watering fixtures today is in Kabwe. Green Eagles versus Kabwe Warriors. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. I would have loved to actually, if there was a way, I would have loved to watch that match if I was near around Kabwe, because Green Eagles are silent. They are a silent team in terms of preparations. They have been training quietly, aggressively. We saw them come to the so-called Big Six. I don't even know why they named it like that, because there were only small teams playing in that tournament.
Because Ghana was
no, that's not what I've said. I'm just saying. You see, Green Eagles have made quite some significant strides. They've lost one, Sebastian Mwange, to South Africa. He's changed teams, and Spencer Sauti has shifted. I totally agree with you. Spencer has been one of their best players, and for him to make a move, leaving a club that is playing in continental football and joining a team that is neither here nor there, and they're basically chasing the title this season. And their first game is on Sunday. Of course, they're playing tomorrow, Power Dynamos. But I think they have prepared very, very well. The departure of Sebastian Mwange has seen the coming in of Alan Chibo in the squad, and as Green Eagles and the way they've just prepared, I saw Mr. Goma was actually inspecting Independence Stadium in Choma for CAF games, and I could see that they have really put up some good infrastructure at the stadium. They are very, very ready to cause upsets this season.
So for these games, I will start with you, Augustine. For the game, the Vidcon game, who would you give it to?
I think if I were to call that match, I think I'll go for a draw, because both teams, they don't score a lot of goals, and usually they're tight at the back, so they'll be very cautious. This is the early stages of the season. No one would love to lose 4-5-0 like we saw yesterday to Kitchener.
That's a
very poor start.
Result.
So it will have an effect on their mental strength going into the coming fixture. So I'll just give it a draw.
What happened?
Well, Chawla brings confidence in Lusaka Dynamos, and I think it will be very, very, very exciting to see him score on his debut for Lusaka Dynamos. And the disorganization of Butcon leaves much to be desired, and for me, I am seeing a triumphant Lusaka Dynamos at the end of the fixture.
Let's look at the Nkana game. We see Nkana going into that game having, for me, I would say, having a dark cloud per se, looking at the player that they lost. So I don't know what kind of motivation did maybe is the coach going to give to the players in terms of going in the game.
Probably we are going to see, we are likely to see the team coming out with black armbands in sorrow for one Crispin who went to be with the Lord during the course of the week. And this match, it's got some pretty rich history, very rich history, but the last 2 years have been very, very devastating for Nkana Football Club. I think in the last 10 years, 11 years, we've played Forest Rangers a number of 20 times. Nkana has been triumphant 10 times. I think, if my memory serves me right, Forest has beaten us 4 times, and the 4 of them were draws. But in this entire discussion, you will understand that the last 2 years have been very, very bad for Nkana against Forest Rangers. They've beaten us home and away in the last 2 years, and history doesn't favor us to carry the day today.
The last time you got points against Forest Rangers was boardroom decision.
As per procedure, it's part of football. I mean, those are rules of football. If you commit a crime, the rules are very, very clear for everybody to follow. So don't even discuss that in your scoreline. It's a story for another day, and it's history. And by the way, it's part of the championship that we actually currently hold. And you can proudly look at us and say Nkana Football Club are the league defending champions this season. But coming to the Forest game, it will be very, very tight, full of emotions as usual. But I'm only hoping that the lads can play with their heads high and just win the match in honor of one Crispin Mulenga.
Are we seeing
it's not very easy to see a team that is coming from a very, very sorrowful week. Before we even go to the sorrowful week, the demise of one Crispin, I could see a very, 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 very unconvincing Nkana Football Club last weekend against Indeni. We won the match, but clearly I could see that we have a lot of work to do if we are to do anything tangible in the CAF Champions League, because the team performance on the day, we used the experience, the team used the experience to carry the day, but the performance was extremely unconvincing, very, very unconvincing. Of course, not to take away a very, very acrobatic goal by one Idris Mbombo. It was one of my best goals that I will live to see this season. And we will live to see if there will be any other goal that will be better than that goal. Probably it's one of the most contentious goals of this season. It will be one of those that will be put to test to see if anybody else can score a goal like that, because it was very, very acrobatic. The Forest Rangers game this afternoon, we are going to use experience again as per procedure. I have seen Forest Rangers play a couple of friendlies, a couple of games. They are very, very unconvincing as well. And for me, the two managers that will face each other today, every team has an equal chance to prove a point, and they are all representing the country in the CAF games, and we just have to wait and see. I can only wish Nkana Football Club all the best, because it's not an easy fixture. Forest Rangers, they are up in arms. They missed the title last season. I don't know whether you can call it I don't know how they missed it. Everything was in their hands. 2 games before the end of the season, they had total control of the league until they just messed it up. That to me tells me a very, very big story, because that's a team that is representing Zambia in the CAF games, and if they don't have an ambition to win the league, they had the ambition, but the caliber of the players, the conviction of the players to actually win the league was not there. You could see the team playing, and for me, the failure to win the league last season leaves a lot to be desired. And this afternoon, Nkana Football Club,
anyway, no, let's put the league overall. I know it's too early for predictions, but it would be best if we hear the predictions now.
No.
There are issues to do. I don't want you to look at it in an aspect of maybe.
You should be scared of prison helpers, eh?
So I'll start with you, Augustine. Let's look at which teams do you feel like will underperform? Which team do you feel like will carry the day? You know, in such way, because just like Rapson is saying, you should be scared.
I think if you look at, if we're going to judge the league, we're going to judge according to the transfer market that are just gone. Looking at the business these clubs have done and the preparations for this season, I think the favourites are clearly ZESCO United. ZESCO United are favourites to carry this season. If you look at the business that they've done, the quality players that they've brought in goals, they've brought in assists, and they've brought in a little bit of solidity. So it's very interesting. You look at ZESCO United, they would be favourites. Sensational Zanaco will throw their name in there. They have got Baba Basile. 15 goals last season with Lusaka Dynamos. If he can transform his form to Sensational Zanaco, I think they will be favourites. If you look at Ghana, they will be in and around there. They're always there. It's Ghana Football Club. Yes, they're always there. No matter what, it's not about.
You see, when you command respect,
and let's just speak this call. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. This is Coach. I'm calling from Kitwe.
Oh, how is Kitwe this afternoon?
Kitwe is a big water, but it's still calm. So it's okay.
Okay, you can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Looking at the topic of discussion today, it's a very welcoming topic, and I want to say I'm a paradigm of supporters. So, looking at the list we had previously in season, I'm very confident that we are going to perform very well, but it's not easy chance to look at the challenge of our foreign stations, Green Eagles. These teams have done their best looking at the figures. So, season about teams will be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, and things like Ghana, if you look how they perform, there are so many challenges on the battling stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have small teams.
So, what's your prediction between the Forest and Ghana game?
Forest in Ghana, I think Ghana will carry the day. They have the confidence. Look at the performance of Isimbongo.
Yes.
Yes. Look at the confidence he still has. From the previous season, he's still managing himself up to now. Ghana is looking to be a very strong team, and physically they are okay.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
To our viewers who are just joining us, the phone line is open. You can call us and give us your prediction in terms of who you feel like will carry the day. When I say carry the day, I mean who is going to win the Zambian Super League. And I think for me, Rapson, before you just come in, I feel like I conga with the caller. You know, the league for me this season is going to be very, 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 very interesting. And it's somehow a bit hard to give a prediction.
You see, for me, I am not going to be part of the discussion of who's going to win the league. For a very, very simple reason. This season is extremely competitive. Extremely competitive. Teams have invested both in resources, players. You can see the hunger in the teams. Every team has prepared extremely well for this season. So in week one, really, Augustine is dwelling on one ZESCO United and having prepared very well simply because they acquired the services of Bruce Sakanya. So his allegiance is
Camna TV invites all registered castor seed farmers for a 3-day training session. On Monday, 2nd November from 08:30 hours, training for trainers, cost 1,020 kwacha per participant. On Tuesday, 3rd November and Wednesday, 4th November, training for all castor growers, 620 kwacha per participant, lunch inclusive. Choose one day only.
Speakers will be Pastor Moses Chiluba, Israel Kimball from Zimbabwe, Professor Rida from Egypt.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. For more information, registration and payments, use the following numbers: 0979 753010, 0962 382535, 0962 965883. Cost for castor seed and fertilizer is $805 or kwacha equivalent. Deposit in Zanaco account number 57642835000191 Lewanika Mill branch. Let's make Zambia an economical powerhouse for Africa.
So for me, Zesco United really, it's been they've acquired the services of Bruce, like I was saying, Bruce, and the graduation of the 5 young players from their feeder clubs into the main team. They look to be very, very solid. They've even acquired Nomba Mamba as their manager, replacing one Chicken George. But I think the test to their league chasing is on tomorrow at Woodland Stadium. They are facing a very, very, very consistent NAPSA football club. NAPSA is not a pushover. We've seen NAPSA acquire the services of quite a number of good players. They got one midfielder from Lumwana Radiance, and tomorrow's game, Collins Kombe is back, Luka Nguni, Luka Banda, they are coming back in the team with a lot of confidence from representing the country at a very, very high level. I think they'll come into that match with a lot of zeal, a lot of experience, a lot of motivation. I think Zesco United will have a taste of how the season is going to be tomorrow at Woodland Stadium. It won't be very, very easy for them, and my money is on NAPSA Stars tomorrow.
I think if you look at just what Corruption has said, if you look at NAPSA Stars, when it comes to continental football and challenging for the title, you expect them to be there. Unless otherwise, maybe continental football may have a toe on them, but we just expect NAPSA Stars to be in those brackets. The likes of Green Eagles, I expect Forest Rangers to drop out of that top 4, because I don't think they've got enough quality in that side. You could see what Corruption has talked about earlier. They had 2 chances to go tops, win the league. After when the league had resumed, they just had to go and win at Davis against Power Dynamos and beat NAPSA in the coming week. Then they would have been crowned champions. They went to Power Dynamos. You saw that the pressure was on that Forest side, and there's no player who can stand up like you see Nkana, you see Idris Mbombo. He's going to carry the team on his shoulders, but we didn't see that with Forest Rangers. They got beat by Power Dynamos 2-1. Then, when the pressure was off them, now they faced the NAPSA Stars side, which was wanting to win the league. Then now, all of a sudden, they turned up. And then they were given another lifeline against Sensational Zanaco
Football Club.
And you could see these guys, their mental strength, it's their weak mentally. They went into Zanaco. They couldn't even test the goalkeeper. You would have thought Zanaco were the team who wanted to win the title. Yeah. So, I think Forest Rangers would drop out of that top 4. Maybe dark horses. I look at Kawa Warriors. This is a team which a lot of people always underrate, but if you look at the team that they have put together, the likes of Mwachiava, Jimmy Njlovu, they have got Twiza Chaibela, and they have got Saidi Ali, a very creative midfielder. They have got Dominic Chanda, and a national team international defender now. It's solid. I think a lot of people don't expect Kawa Warriors to do well, but they might just be the dark horses. Then look at the likes of Nkwazi.
I beg to differ with that. Kawa Warriors, for a very simple reason. They have lost a very, very good left back. Zakaria has left. The other day I was watching Konko. Konko has also left them.
I think
one of their best strikers that they had during the previous 2 seasons. He was part of the team that were almost winning the season. They are in the transitional league. He was one of my best strikers that I was watching, and a combination of himself and one Jimmy Njovu, you would have said that that is a very, very lethal combination. But looking at their transfer window, well, I have not followed their transfer window so much, but I doubt if they have made significant additions to the squad that can make them get into that top 4. For me, the ones that deserve to be in the top 4 and they have really, really prepared well, we saw towards the end of last season when Perry and Masauso went to Power Dynamos. You could clearly see the transformation of Power Dynamos when they replaced one Pastor. I don't know what what Power Dynamos were doing to go for that manager, but that is history. It's water under the bridge. But we saw what Perry has brought to Power Dynamos, and for me,
for the title, in fact.
Exactly my point. Not Cabo Warriors. If you ask me,
I think Cabo Warriors.
If you ask me between the two, the guys across the road in Kitwe and Ghana Football Club, I think Power Dynamos is more organized this season than Ghana Football Club.
Then my worry with Green Eagles, they are very organized. Most of the time, it's based on discipline, hard work, and the togetherness. But if you look at this Green Eagles side, who is going to get them the goals? I think that's the biggest problem. We saw Tapson Kaseva left. Then now the creative Spencer South leaving. I think now it just leaves you with Amit Chamenda, maybe someone who can create the magic from somewhere. But who is going to finish the goal? Ronald Chiwe I think he has had trouble in his career. He was at Ghana. There was at some point we thought he was going to be one of those big strikers who you can rely on the target man, but it failed at Ghana. He went to Forest. He went everywhere. But it seems like he has found his home at Eagles. But he's not the guy who get you 15 goals in a season. That's the problem.
Talking about Green Eagles and young Green Eagles, you see, coming to think of it again, there's so many. We've seen a lot of talk about how we should allow one sponsor having two clubs in the Premier League. I have seen people debate. They take a lot of opinions here and there. I followed one CEO, the Zambian Super League CEO, Brian, trying to explain the relationship of Mighty Frida Wanderers in Ghana Football Club or being sponsored by Mopani. All that jigsaw puzzle being explained doesn't make sense to me, in my own opinion, if you ask me. What ZNS should have done is, except we haven't fully implemented the club licensing in Zambia, probably that is the reason why we are in this predicament
issues with
where
representatives.
Where you have young Green Eagles facing Green Eagles. There are so many permutations. Probably, if they happen to have a fixture which is deciding either relegation or league championship, do you expect young Green Eagles to perform the way they should perform, looking at the elder brothers?
When we just even look at the logo,
they use the same logo.
They use the same logo. So
they use the same logo, same sponsors, same kits. Nothing is different, except they came out to say the sponsorship of young Green Eagles and the sponsorship of Green Eagles. Yes, the mother body is the same, but they are different entities. That is their justification. And I was very, very disappointed to see, to hear an opinion of, I'll say it clean and plain. Brian Mlenga was trying to justify that even Mopani Copper Mines sponsors Ghana, sponsor this, sponsor that. It doesn't really make sense because those are two different mining towns, and the club licensing in those two clubs, I think, if you ask me, the clubs that are very close to getting reality in this country in terms of club licensing, one of the teams that has actually been wind off is Sensational Zanaco Football Club. They are doing extremely fine. They've been detached from the bank. They are running the club as an independent entity on its own. Of course, not at 100%. Zanaco is still sponsoring the club. Zambia National Commercial Bank is still sponsoring the club. But the structures into becoming independent are being put in place. Very thankful to one CEO of Sensational Zanaco Football Club, Kananda. They have made strides. The other clubs that you can look at in terms of being very, very independent and being compliant to the club licensing is Zesco United. They have put up structures. They are coming up. They are slowly being detached from the main Zesco. We saw the players being taken off payroll from Zesco Limited. They are now employees of Zesco United Football Club. So when you look at the transition into club licensing, we have a lot of work to do, because we were not going to see this situation. And clearly, in an event that these two clubs qualified to continental football, they will have it very, very difficult to convince CAF. We can justify that locally in Zambia, but to international standards, being sponsored by the same company, the same institution, two clubs representing the country, using the same logo, different names, it just can't work. We are trying to justify our failures as a nation, but I think there's a lot of work to do, and I'm only hoping that as this season progresses, reality will dawn and we'll start doing the right thing as a country. Because for me, it's a miss. Yes, we've accepted FAS as justified and Young Green Eagles will proceed to play in the Premier League, but at the end of the day, I doubt if it is correct.
And our league looks like it's amateur, for lack of a better term. Fixtures coming out 5 days to a game. I think to me, these are certain things that the association should look at.
The council needed to approve. You can't release fixtures without the council. And there's COVID. The council could not meet.
But I think it was going to be easy if the fixture was going to be released a bit
2 or 3 months. I think we've seen
the EPL.
They release fixtures just 3 weeks after the season ends. Yeah, so that there's proper planning between the coaches, the management. There are a lot of things that are involved in terms of for you to run the course of the season. You need to plan where are we going to pick our 3 points. If you are, for example, let me just give you an example. If you are Prison Leopards, you've come into the Super League, you're gonna plot how are we going to stay up against Quito United. It's a 6-pointer. We are both going to be in.
But don't even use 5 days. It was actually 3 days for Prison Leopards. It was a blade yesterday.
Yes. So you realize, how do you plan for that? I think it's very, very difficult. We just need to detach the league from the association so that it can run on its own. So that these comedy errors, I think there should be things of the past.
So all in all, just to wind up, there's been failure for you guys to give a prediction. I'll keep it for today.
I've given my prediction. I think Zesco United will carry the championship, and Continental, I think Sensational Zanaco, Zesco United, Power Dynamos, maybe Green Eagles, Ghana or NAPSA will join them. Relegation, I expect Young Green Eagles to go down just the way they came up. Prison Leopards will be in the relegation fight. Quito United will definitely go down. They don't have enough quality to keep them up. Nkwazi will be in trouble again. Beautycon will be in trouble again. Red Arrows Buffalo will be mid-table again. I think that's how I see it.
You see, this is what I'm saying. Almost. It's very, very... I like what Augustine is talking about. He's doing Red Arrows kid. Before kickoff, he knows that they are mid-table. I think the quality of Red Arrows is basically mid-table. That's what he's telling.
Let me just try and clarify a little bit on Red Arrows. We've seen the players going out. I think the 12 veterans, there's been a restructure. I think Red Arrows has been restructured starting from the youth system. They have appointed Danny Siwanda, Bronson Chama, Dominic Yobe, Francis Kombe, Bran Luwawa, and Charles Sinyingwa. I think 8 senior former players. They have been assigned to overlook the youth team projects at Red Arrows. It's not something that will have fruits in 2-3 years, but it does this season. But in 2-3 years' time, it's something that will benefit the football club, and it's something that Zambian clubs should embark on. Red Arrows have started with under 14, under 16, with the under 19, so that they have got a proper structure as a football club. Results may not come in now, but in the near future they will. I expect Red Arrows to have a very decent season. They won't struggle like people think. They may even surprise people to be in the top 6.
You see, Augustine, you're always a very, very critical supporter, and for me, objectivity is very, very key. You are not going to relegate 12 senior players. You relegate them. You cut them off. You are bringing in young blood. The question I have, which I will not labor to stress, is the quality of those players that you released good enough to go and train the youth and give them the mental strength to come and take up the roles in the senior team?
Yes.
The quality of those players basically you guys are very, very sympathetic to them. You see, when a player retires, you are now telling me that, or probably telling us that when you retire from a football club because of long service, you automatically get adopted into the technical upbringing of the youth and all the way to the senior team.
I think
sometimes it's just important. When you are getting rid of the players, they've done their part, let them go. For me, the quality of the players that you are mentioning who've been given a task to train the youth, what quality are they going to train in the youth? What? Anyway, let's leave it there.
I think let's leave it for another day.
We'll leave it for another day. But for me, Red Arrows, if you want, stop being sympathetic.
But
you are being sympathetic because you pruned 12 and you've retained all the 12. The same thing that they failed to do for the senior team. You want them to be bringing the young ones into the main team.
Clarification. The only 3 remain behind, which is Danny Siwanda,
Bronson
Chama, and Charles Singwa. They saw some abilities in terms of how they can manage. I think Danny Siwanda has got an academy which is doing very,
coaching
very
license
well.
Again.
But Dan Academy is doing very well. I think if you see the talent that he has in his academy, it's very, very good players. He's someone who is humble, he teaches boys. Bronson Chama is very cool, calm, collected. He's someone who would add to that technical bench, his knowledge and everything. But it's not a given that Red Arrows will do well, but it's a long-term project which we hope not just Red Arrows but Zambian clubs should invest in youth football.
Away from that, there's a lot to discuss over that. But anyway, I think we saw the fixture that was played in the UEFA Champions League where we saw Patson Daka and Enoch Mwepu being part of the starting 11, but a bad end to Papa Patson Daka, who just got injured. How would you rate the performance of Salzburg playing against Atletico Madrid?
For me, it was if you ask me on paper, the advantage was with Atletico and they made it victorious, and credit goes to the boys and the Red Bull Salzburg team because the performance that they showed in that particular match, I expected a worse result because Atletico Madrid is not a pushover. They're a big team. They've played in the Champions League a couple of years, and for the teams, for Red Bull Salzburg to go and to play and score 2 goals against Atletico Madrid, of course they lost by 3-2. We saw Patson Daka limping off in the 27th minute, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But you could tell that the value, I think for me, the concentration is on the 2 players. We saw Enoch Mwepu giving in a full shift in that match, and he accounted for himself very well. They combined very well with Kamara in midfield. For me, Kamara was very, very outstanding in defensive midfield, and Mwepu was given the role of supporting the strikers up front. And the injury to Patson Daka, we saw Koita coming in for Patson. Then later on in the same match, he gets substituted again. I'm watching football. I'm like, so where Patson Daka is,
it's on another level.
It's a different level. There's no way you are going to replace a striker. You go in a match as a substitute. In the same match, you are taken off. That reduces confidence in the player himself. And I doubt if that player is going to pick up from that game and perform, because they have a game this afternoon, I think, and later in the day today. And I'm hoping that the boy can rise to the occasion and just do something extraordinary. It's very, very disappointing for him to replace Patson and get substituted again. The impact on the game was very, very negative from him, but credit goes to Enoch Mwepu for a 90-minute shift, and we could tell. And during the course of the same week, we saw a lot of stories about Patson Daka being spoken about in Europe and
Man City.
It's a very, very nice thing to do, and I think for the player it gives him confidence and the courage to carry on. Playing 11 games and scoring 12 goals is a very, very fantastic thing to do, and we can only wish the boys all the best. But in that particular group where they are, they really have to work hard if they are going to proceed to the knockout stages.
But on the game against Red Bull Salzburg, Atletico Madrid hosting Red Bull Salzburg, you could see that Diego Simeone goes for the rigid 4-4-2. It's always flat 4-4-2. match tried to match them. He went with a 4-4-2 but with a diamond. You saw Enoch was being played from the right side of midfield. Yeah. Then they had Dominic Jabaj on the other side and Kamara, who did a very, very good job, who was screening in front of that back four. I think at the end of the day, it's all about experience. If you see Atletico Madrid, they had in that midfield that Saul is always hardworking, hard tackling, Coque Resurrección. You would always fear when you're playing inside like Atletico Madrid with João Felix and Suarez, you cannot keep them at bay. But after they went down, I think the courage to equalize and take Atletico Madrid punch for punch, I think that was something they can, I think, get confidence from. I think this group, it's still open if you ask me. Because now they're going to play a double head against back-to-back matches against Bayern Munich. Very, very tricky. Atletico Madrid.
And you are calling that group open?
It's very open. It's very open for that second spot. For that second spot, if you ask me, from what I saw, the second spot is very open. Atletico Madrid may actually go to Salzburg and get beaten. Yeah, so now it's all about how many points do you get when you face Bayern Munich, and you have to get 6 points against Lokomotiv Moscow. And unfortunately, Salzburg has already lost 2 points against Lokomotiv Moscow. So they just hope Atletico and Lokomotiv Moscow, they at least get one draw.
You see, he's now using
calculations.
It reminds me of the Zambia national soccer team and the calculator that we always carry when watching football and how we are going to qualify. That group is very, very tight. It's very tight, but
and
it's not open.
May be out for a month.
No, it's just 2 to 3 weeks.
Hamstring injuries, it's mostly 1 month because they'll give you 3 weeks to recover. Then the 4th week you resume like
individual training.
Yes.
But at his level, he doesn't need all that time. He doesn't need that time to train on his own. I think for me, he was taken off very cautiously, very, very cautiously. His recovery, according to their medical team, they said he'll be ready in the next 14 days. But I'm seeing him missing the Botswana game because 14 days will be dawning right at the same time. So I don't think a club that has invested so much in treating a player will risk him to fly to Zambia and come and play a game immediately after coming from injury. He's likely to miss that match, but are
we seeing Mwepu coming?
Of course, that's an international FIFA calendar, and the clubs have got no choice. They have no choice. They have no choice.
A quick one. The other fixtures that we have played, we saw Manu.
Big teams are big teams. We had a very, very fantastic week. Back to back. Manchester United going into France, Paris, humbling them at home. Very, very fantastic. Perfect performance. The midfield was on point. You could see a diamond formation of the midfield. And for once, Solskjaer did the right thing of fielding 3 defensive midfielders and 1 creative midfielder against a very, very fast front line of the front line of Paris. Let's begin from that game.
We begin from that one. Though the late time.
That game against Paris, we saw Man United emerging victorious against all odds. You can tell that the team, the moment we are discussing the firing and dismissing of
Solskjaer,
just at the peak of the discussion, the guy surprises everybody and beats Paris Saint-Germain. Whilst we are still celebrating that win, we humble Leipzig 5-0 in the Champions League. And I'm like, oh, so this is a guy that we wanted to fire a few days ago, and look at this performance. Who expected Man United, in all fairness, beating the German league leaders? It was their current league leaders in Germany, Leipzig, and for them to be beaten by 5-0, I was like, am I dreaming? Is this reality? But clearly, you can tell that Man United has gone to another level in Europe, and I can only hope that the consistency remains the same, because it's not easy up there. And now all the teams are watching that Man United is in a very, 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 very ruthless form. And to confirm this, tomorrow's fixture against this small club
God, yes,
I don't know that team we are playing tomorrow as Man United. There's a team that we beat in 2011 by 8 goals to 2. I think we are facing them again tomorrow, and chances are that a repeat of 2011 might be a reality tomorrow as
well. Augustine, a quick one.
I think if you look at Real Madrid drawing at Mönchengladbach, I think to me that was that. I think you
the
can
most
see,
disappointing.
Yeah, it was the most
fixture.
disappointing result of them. I think Real Madrid, they'll struggle in this Champions League. Now they have to play Inter Milan back to back. They need to get results in that game for them to qualify from the group.
Your last words, Augustine.
My closing remarks, I think thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in. Thanks for the entire backroom staff for making the show possible. I'm looking forward to the military derby this afternoon at Iduni Mboela. We are playing GBFC. It's going to be an interesting encounter. Benedict Chepeshi captains the squad for the very first time as the main captain. Monga Chilimba on the other side. I just hope we carry the day in the military derby.
Well, we would like to thank the viewers for tuning in, and when you look at the sporting weekend, I can only wish Ghana Football Club all the best this afternoon as they face one for Marembe. And to sum it up, the weekend will be very, very fantastic with a win against Arsenal tomorrow, because you see, we haven't even discussed the fixtures of the EPL due to time limitations, but I can simply say it's going to be a very, very fantastic sporting weekend for me. And I am dashing to go and cover the match live.
Next week. That's where you are going. We need
one of us
good
here
coverage.
Will probably not be here because of he will be mourning his loss when they are beaten by GBFC this afternoon.
Anyway, I think we've due to time we've come to the. This is where we say we've come to the end of the show, and we are glad to the viewers who tuned in, and to those who watched us live on Facebook. You can continue watching good shows here on Camnet, because we are just not another channel. And on behalf of the entire production team, I've been your host Amos, aka Amore, and I say bye bye. We are out. See you next week.